So Balak is the king of Midyan. In this week's parsha, he is the main character after which the parsha is named. And it's a fascinating story that there's so much motivation and lack of motivation that comes up in this week's parsha that I felt it would be such a great example for parsha and parnasa to really highlight this. So Balak is the king of Midyan, and he wants to hire Bilam to curse his enemy. So what does Balak do? So he sends officers, right? The elders of MOAV and the elders of Miyan, two different nations. And so they pitch the job to Bilam, and Bilam says back to them, let me sleep on it. Let me sleep on it. Okay. Now, by the way, he literally says to them, sleep here, and I'll ask God to get back to you in the morning. So this is probably where I'll sleep on it, that phrase comes from. So the pasuk says, the Torah tells us that that only the officers of Moab actually stayed, which means that the officers of Midyan left, because the Torah says that the senior leaders of Moab and Midyan came, but only the officers of Moab stayed. That means that some of them left. They must have been not convinced. Rashi actually says they were not convinced, so they didn't stay. So that's number one in motivation. If you want people to be motivated to do something, if they don't believe something will work, they'll bounce, they'll leave. They don't stay longer to see what's going to happen. Right? You need to speak to the heart of what they believe and what's important to them if you want them to be motivated. So Bilam doesn't go. He gets back in the morning and says, sorry, I can't go. God said no, it's a no-go. So the king sends high-ranking officers with the king's message as follows. He says to Bilam, I will honor you even greatly and make you very respected. And Bilam replies and says, even if you gave me all of your house of gold and silver, it won't make me do this. I can't deviate from God. So lesson number 2 in motivating your employees or basically anyone is if you want to motivate them, you need to find out what actually motivates them. Bilam literally says, and the Torah is recording this, you can give me all the respect in the world, all the senior dignitaries, all the money of your kingdom. I'm not motivated by the respect, by the glory, by the money. I'm motivated by what God says I can or cannot do. Right? And by the way, your employees or other people, they might not be motivated by respect, glory, or money either. That means that the raise, the praise, that might not motivate them. Maybe it does. The key is that you must ask them and find out what motivates them in order to know what actually motivates them. Don't just assume. Bilam is saying he was motivated by what God says he can and cannot do. I know, if only we were all motivated by that. So Bilam gets permission from God eventually, right, after the second round, and to go, as long as Bilam says what God wants him to. So Bilam gets into his his donkey, and he rides off. And on the way, the Torah tells us, Bilam's donkey sees an angel of God with a sword. The pasuk says, V'charbo shalufo biyado. The donkey veers off of the road and smashes his ankle, smashes his leg. And Bilam remotivates the donkey by hitting it, or he tries to remotivate it. But the donkey doesn't actually move. He does not remotivate it by that physical pain. The pasuk says the donkey actually speaks back to Bilam and says, why are you hitting me? Why'd you hit me these 3 times? So let's zoom out for a second. What is it that we see? What's the lesson of this week's Parsha and Parnasa? We see that respect, glory, wealth, fear, physical pain, loyalty to God, these are all totally different ways that actually motivates one to take action or to not take action. Each scenario has a totally different way of motivating someone. So the lesson from this week is that if you want to motivate someone to do something, whoever it is you're looking to motivate, ask them what motivates you to take action, and ask them what motivates you to not take action, and listen to that and take action or make them an offer accordingly. Now, if you like this, please share with others.